You're listening to KWBH Radio, West Beverly High. The bro wagon has broken down at Tiffany Morgan's pool, and we're just gonna chill in her backyard all day and talk about 90210. How does that sound?
I like the idea. I want to join the sunbathing dudes in the little bench over there.
Tiffany Morgan's gay entourage.
Yeah, they just hang out there just to watch her, basically. I like that game.
Yeah, because she totally had no idea who they were.
Yeah, that's happened all the time, I'm sure.
Welcome back to Wine-021-Bros, another 90210 podcast on the internet, and the better one, we think.
I think so. It's the only one I've ever listened to.
Yeah. I listened to parts of another one, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to do my own. I felt I have so many things to say about the series, so I didn't want to start a blog because I hate writing.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's going to be fun, though, is I tend to like the later half of the show more than the earlier half, and I know you're the opposite. So I think we're going to see like a fun little shift here coming up in a few years.
Yes, I think so. In a few years.
Yeah.
we're gonna pump through these really quick because we're coming up on a slew of Bourne episodes. So we'll probably do some double up.
I think so. I think we need to.
We are going to double wrap.
Just dreading it.
All right. Well, in case you didn't listen to the first two episodes, I'm Patrick M. Dunn, and I'm joined here with...
I'm Stephen D. Fiore.
And we are the self-proclaimed Wine-021-Bros, and we sip wine and we dish on the cast of 90210.
And we honestly try not to be too mean.
And
it just happens.
Yeah. Sometimes it slips out. We apologize. We don't really hate you. We just laugh at your misfortunes, maybe? I don't know.
Pretty much. We love all of you.
Yes.
Some more than others.
Yes. But if you want to listen to other episodes, you can go to our website, brenda666.com, because this show is so devilishly good. That's why we labeled the website that. And what is our Twitter? I don't even know offhand.
At Wine-021-Bros.
Yes, that was very simple. I don't know why I forgot that. And we are now on iTunes, and I fucked up. I spelled the podcast wrong, so I had to fix that. So I imagine by the time this episode's up, it'll be fixed.
Okay. Keep me posted, because I will try to listen to it at work.
Yeah, I could not find it. And then I was like, what the fuck? Because I got the email from iTunes saying it was accepted. And then I clicked on the link, and I named it Wine-021-Bros, which doesn't even make sense. I added an extra O in there, and I feel like a horrible person.
That's all good. It'll work.
Apologies to our 2 listeners out there.
We're up to 2 now? Awesome.
I think so.
Yes.
Probably 1. I was just saying 2. I just doubled it.
Oh. Shout out to number 1.
All right, so what episode are we watching tonight?
We are watching episode, I guess, 3. Every dream has its price.
Tag. I think the word tag was at the end, right?
It probably was, which would make more sense.
You know what? It might not be. I might have just subconsciously wrote that in there when I was writing down the notes.
Well, hold on. I can jump on IMDb. The original broadcast date of this episode, which we will rename in a minute, was October 18th, 1990. It has tag in parentheses, so kind of included, but kind of not.
Okay, so I definitely did see the word tag. I did not imagine that. And we're not sure on the episode numbers of the show, so I'm calling this season 1 episode 3, but I guess Hulu says this is episode 4. The DVD says this is episode 2, so we don't know.
And yeah, iTunes, or not iTunes, what is this? IMDb says it's episode 2, but it is technically 3 because they count the pilot as episode 0.
Yeah, I don't like that 0 shit. Don't do this to us TV people.
Yeah, for real. Get your shit together.
You confuse things for podcast makers like 30 years down the line.
Yes, and we will angry tweet you too if we have to.
Yes, we will find you. Darren Starr?
Who doesn't get enough credit.
Fox?
It's like everyone always says Aaron Spelling, and then it's like created by Darren Starr. I'm like, who? Who's he?
The only thing Aaron Spelling did was probably just throw money into this.
Put money in his daughter.
He blessed us with Tori.
I love Tori Spelling.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, so this episode, for the longest time, was one of my favorites, but When I was watching it earlier today, it was an okay episode.
Mm-hmm. It had a really good moments, and then it had a lot of filler.
It definitely wasn't as epic as I remembered it.
Yeah, I see that. I can definitely agree with you.
It definitely introduces shoplifting into the 90210 world, because you knew at some point these bratty kids would be stealing clothes.
Have you ever shoplifted anything?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Really? I don't think I ever have.
Contempo casual in the 90s, I would help people steal like lip gloss and stuff.
I took a pen from a teacher once, and it like tore away at my conscience that I actually had to throw it out of my bedroom window. I was like 6 years old. And I felt so freaking guilty. So I'm like, I couldn't even imagine.
You never went through a weird klepto phase?
No. The only thing I would do, my friend and I would go to other friends' houses and just take things from one room and then move it into another room so the parents wouldn't find it right away. And that's it. We never actually stole anything.
That's more like relocating objects. I don't really would count that as stealing something.
Yeah. We were very innocent. Innocent little country bumpkins, I guess.
Your life would have changed drastically if you moved to the city of Beverly Hills and you were surrounded by people that were richer than you and had the latest fashions, and you so desperately wanted to wear them, and that's basically what happens in this episode.
Yeah, pretty much. You basically just read the whole DVD summary, so now I don't need to.
Okay. Excellent.
But I will if you want.
We made up our own this week. Yeah, we'll just throw that out there for good measure.
All right. So the DVD summary of this episode is: Brenda shops with Kelly and Tiffany and wishes she had their kind of money. But Tiffany is a shoplifter, and when she stashes her stolen clothes with Brenda, the police get involved, forcing Brenda to clear her name.
Do the police get involved?
No, not at all.
I did not think so. I was like, wait a second. I remember a fashionable security guard, but I don't remember a police officer.
Yeah, I like the lady with the white hat. She was my hero.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, the fashionable security guard was a character that I wished made another appearance.
No, she just reminded me of Linda Perry from Four Non-Blondes.
She did. And you know what? Doesn't Linda Perry wear hats like that too?
She wears top hats and stupid shit.
And like oversized jackets?
Yeah.
All right, so the episode opens with Brenda. I guess she's practicing her speech to Mom about how she wants to spend Friday night riding horses with Kelly through Topanga Canyon.
What up, Topanga? She does. She wants to get out of the smog-infested malls of Beverly Hills.
I don't know about you, but the first place my mind went to was Topanga from Boy Meets World.
Absolutely. I would ride her canyons any day.
You're like on a mule just going up and down her crevices.
Or just a tongue.
Corey will be pissed, though.
That's all right. She dated a gay man before. She brought Lance Bass to prom, so I have a chance with her.
I guess Brenda's practicing the speech in the mirror. Brandon's there, and he's kind of like, whoa, Brent, you're trotting down the wrong path here. He's like, you can't be like mommy. You know, don't bring up money. Don't bring up this. You just kind of need to be very...
No, it wasn't. I mean, his was basically like, hit her in the heartstrings, hiking at the lake back home, and how much you miss nature, and you want to go back into Mother Nature with your friends. It didn't work.
Kind of be all like crunchy and granola-like.
Basically be Brandon.
And then we get like a quick cut, and we don't see what Brenda did, like how she approached Cindy on this. Instead, we just get Cindy's response, which is just, $120 is too much to spend on a Twilight horse ride, Brenda. And can we just throw in that Cindy's gardening at this moment in time?
Yes, which is one of my favorite things about her.
Yeah, she had like mom khakis on. Like not mom jeans, but mom khakis. And then she had like a garden blouse on and it was tucked in. And then she might have had a hat on though. I can't remember. Did she have a hat on?
Like I picture her with the sun hat and everything. Yeah. I'm a little sad we never really got that.
I don't think she was like planting anything. She was just kind of moving stuff around.
Oh, Cindy.
Like I didn't see her sowing any seeds or anything. I just saw her just raking up. Maybe she was like prepping. Maybe it was like growing season's coming.
It looked like it, yeah. She was just digging in dirt.
Or maybe she was just going to go down to like Home Depot, get some plants, and just kind of like shove them in there just to kind of give the Casa de Walsh lawn a good ambiance.
Maybe. I know nothing about gardening, so.
Yeah, she's not a big fan of the palm trees, I gather.
She was getting tired of everything looking California, so she wanted some color in there.
Well, they had green grass. They had a few bushes, I think a few shrubberies.
I don't know. I miss green. I miss the color green.
So Brenda and Cindy get into a very interesting argument. Brenda is kind of like I'm a nobody here, which is a flat out lie because she hangs out with like the cool kids in school. It's not like she's hanging out with Andrea, who is actually the nobody.
Right? She doesn't go home and talk about wanting to call Andrea and David. Or Scott, whose name again I forgot for a minute.
And Brenda's like, I have no clothes, even though everything that she puts on is not too bad. It's like, okay, I think.
Right, and I love Cindy's line immediately following, I have no clothes. She's like, well, I would say what you're wearing constitutes as clothes. I'm like, dude, sis, let that bitch down.
Yeah, I always like when like sassy Cindy kind of pops out.
Right? We don't get enough of her.
No. I think she starts to mellow out as soon as she gets accustomed to Beverly Hill living. I do like that Brandon calls her Mrs. Green Jeans, though.
That was fun. And the other line I liked was when he told Cindy he wasn't going to be able, or she isn't able to get in too deep with Brenda, basically calling her shallow. Like, that's so rude. I love it.
Yeah, he was kind of like dick of the week, dickhead of the week. I think like that was Steve last week, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Steve the last 2 weeks, I think.
So Steve finally hands the mantle over to Brandon
temporarily.
But you know what? Brandon does kind of bite back though on the other side of the fence because he kind of gets a little he becomes like a little bit of a social justice warrior this week too.
He does. This is the onslaught of Brandon fighting for the little man.
Yes. So is this the first time that he really has a stance, like a strong opinion of something?
It is, because we haven't met Mondale yet, so we don't know anything really about his political leanings. But this is the first time he, stands up for the little guy and wants to fight for equal wages. And yeah, it's the first time we see him become a political person.
Yeah, because I mean, the last 2 episodes, he was mostly just in it for a chick.
Yeah.
The first episode, he was just trying to save face, trying not to be like known as the town man whore. Mm-hmm. And then in episode 2, he was kind of totally into that surfer chick.
Betty?
Oh, I mean, I guess he did save her life, so.
He did, but, what good is that?
What good is that?
Yeah. I had someone give me the Heimlich maneuver once. Not like I'm, praising their name to Jesus or anything.
Oh, Father Brandon. All right, so now we Brandon and Brenda, they take off for school, and who shows up at the Walsh house but a maid? And I guess Jim hired a maid to help Cindy out around the house, and he forgot to tell her. Jim is forgetting to do a lot of things, like going home.
Forgot how to show up when your children need you.
But he hires a maid for Cindy, and so now like Cindy just lets a stranger into her house.
Jim.
And the only thing that Cindy does basically is just cook, clean, and garden, and now there's someone that is doing it for her and getting paid for it.
Which is great. I'm sorry, but it made me happy to see Cindy just like suffering. Like, well, how do I do this if someone's here mopping my floor? Like, I'm gonna sponge it so that I look like I'm doing more work than she is.
She is busting balls too. Like, she is all around the place, the maid. Like, she's out of control, and Cindy can't even keep up with her. Like, Cindy's like, you know what? I'm just gonna help you because what else am I gonna do? So she tries to keep up with her, and it's just this huge, big stress to her this week.
Yeah, she'll be the assistant to her maid.
Now, over at school, we meet Tiffany Morgan, who is, I guess, Kelly Taylor's ex-best friend?
Yes, from grade school, they said.
Yeah, they grew up together. They were kind of inseparable. And then, I guess, Kelly and Tiffany, we learned throughout the episode that I guess they had a falling out over Steve Sanders, apparently.
Right? Explain it. I don't get it. Like, current day Ian Ziering, okay, yeah, he's good looking now. But like 1990 Ian Ziering, I don't see anyone fighting to get into that one.
1990 Steve Sanders reminds me of like an early 90s, late 80s porn star for some reason. I don't know why.
Absolutely.
Like, the only thing he's missing is just the stash, like the porn stash.
He should come with his own theme song every time he comes onto a scene. Wow, chicka, wow, wow.
I could see him being playing the pizza boy in a porno. Like, I'm surprised they never went with that plot. Like, I feel like that would have been a job that Steve Sanders would have been good at instead of running a newspaper or something.
They kind of do. No, they do a little bit later on.
Oh.
I think season 5? No, 6. The beginning of season 6.
Steve?
He rents the Walsh house out to a porn studio, and then they need someone to play the pizza boy.
Oh.
And he volunteers.
So, am I prophetically telling the future?
You are. I'm very impressed. Now, remember though, I just watched the first half of season 6 like a couple of months ago, so it's still pretty fresh for me.
Okay. See, I don't think I've seen season 6 since like season 6 was last on. Like the first time it was ever on.
It's a hard season to get through.
Yeah, we'll definitely quadruple up the episodes when we get there.
Yeah, we'll have to branch out and
we got 10 years of this to get through.
It's a hard season. It's I see it still sitting out.
So they're kind of been the last few episodes. They've been laying these pieces of the Steve Sanders Kelly Taylor puzzle, and I don't think we ever get a finite answer as to what really happened between them.
I don't think so. I think we might get a little more details towards the end of at the dance, but even then it's still kind of vague.
And it conflicts with things we've learned previously.
Because back in the 90s, no one cared about continuity like they do now.
No, they didn't have Wikipedia sites that kind of kept track of all this information.
Which, that's a fun rabbit hole to go down.
Yes. Can we talk about the parallels between Les Miserables and the events of this episode?
Yes. Which, at first, I did not realize that was Miss Rye again. I was happy to see her back.
Yes, so we met Miss Rye in the previous episode. She worked with Andrea on The Blaze, I believe.
She was the faculty advisor.
Yes, now we learn that she's a full-blown literature teacher.
Which seems totally appropriate.
Yeah, and she gets along with the students. When Tiffany and Kelly are being disruptive, she kind of finds a way to incorporate into her her teaching.
Yeah, she was fun. I liked her. I don't know if she'll be back, but I like her so far.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this her final appearance, do you think? I don't know, to be honest with you.
I think the teachers go away until we get Gil, and then we're stuck with creepy old Gil for a while.
Shout out to creepy old Gil. We'll see you soon.
I can't wait. So, Les Mis.
I do like Miss Rye's interpretation of Les Mis. She says, it sounds kind of miserable, doesn't it? But it's got sex and crime. And Brenda perks up. She's like, ooh.
I'm intrigued. They should make a movie out of this.
Brenda gets really involved in it because she starts to explore this whole thought that how one decision or event can change one person's whole life. And I guess the basic plot of the book is this person has to steal to survive. Am I getting that right?
He steals a loaf of bread for his starving sister and nephew, and then ends up being arrested and put into jail for 20 years for stealing bread.
Ugh, okay. The parallel to this is that Brenda has there's a blouse that she really wants to buy, but it costs $120. She can't afford it. Tiffany rips it off from the store and hides the goods in her closet, in Brenda's closet, and this whole whirlwind of shit happens that we'll get to shortly.
Yes, we will.
Brenda is totally trying to suck up to Tiffany and Kelly, though, because I think Tiffany says this lame joke, and then Brenda's like, hey, Tiff, that was funny.
It made me sad for Brenda. You're not this naive little girl. Come on, Brenda, you're better.
You're better than that, Brenda. But I guess I do feel their pain because Tiff and Kelly are trying to figure out which BMW they should take to the store later on that day.
Whose Beamer should we take? Really? Say who's driving. Come on.
And Brenda's like, I probably will have to walk there.
She could find Donna. Oh, no, Donna.
Donna took the week off. Donna did not go to school this week, nor did Scott.
I was looking.
I don't know. Maybe they were sick. Maybe they caught the flu. Maybe Donna got a nose job and she was letting her face heal. Who knows? We don't know.
I can see that for Donna. That makes sense.
Donna and Scott, you are the losers of the week.
There was tough competition too.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. You were worse. You were worse than the sassy boss lady that Brandon has to deal with.
Fucking Stella.
And the sales clerk, the judgmental sales clerk.
Oh, I loved her hair though.
She did have nice hair, but she just automatically assumed that Brenda was in on this thievery plot. Mm-hmm. Tiff, I guess, has a heart, and she decides to invite Brenda to the store with them. Which is the store called Nitro?
I'm going to assume yes, because I wasn't able to figure out if it was the store or if it was just 90s slang.
Everyone in this episode kept talking about hanging out at Nitro after school, including Steve. And
right, that's why I was confused.
Because I was like, why would Steve want to go to a ladies' clothing store unless that's where he goes to pick up chicks?
And we do see him there, so it could be.
We do. He's there with David, and they're trying on perfume.
Yeah, and explain that. How are they friends now? We miss things.
Well, in the previous episode, Steve wasted a whole day hanging out with the wrong loser because he thought that David was son of Mel Silver, the movie producer, and not Mel Silver, the dental surgeon,
oral surgeon. Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe this is a weird time lapse here. Maybe this kind of takes place all at the same time. Who knows?
Oh, that makes sense. Because the last week was very Brandon heavy, so it could work out.
Yeah. So in between Brenda going to the beach with Kelly, she had a little incident with her stealing clothes. I don't know. Who knows? We then get one appearance by Andre in this episode, and she rushes through the school. She bumps into Brandon, who is at the job board, and he's just trying to find a job because he wants cash.
And I love the fact that she looks at a random person and says, "Hey, I'll see you in class." guy has no idea who Andrea is. He's like, who the fuck's this teacher? But I like that she was happy.
Yeah, we got happy Andrea this week. She's had a stressful start to the school year. She basically was caught by Brandon living out of school district, so she has to kind of deal with that secret and Brandon knowing this and hoping that he doesn't slip up and like tell the wrong person.
Yeah, like when I saw Andrea this week, I was like, oh, it might not be a bad week. Maybe she'll be happy and nice the whole week, and she was in one scene, so it worked out.
We then cut into the Brandon gets rejected at every job lead montage.
I love montages.
So it's Brandon hitting the pavement. It's so 1990. So you just see him walking up to different stores and restaurants and diners, and you just see him getting rejected, and he's just crossing everything off the list. It's so 1990 because now we can just get peacefully rejected for jobs behind our computer screens. So we no longer have to be face to face with these horrible people that just shake their head at you or just like tell you to scram, chase you away with a broom.
Yeah, thank God for email. Actually, the job I'm in now, I never even met my boss until the first day of work. Like we kept making plans. Let's meet up. We'll have an actual in-person interview at like Starbucks. And then it never happened. So I get a text from her. She's like, are you available to start on this day? I'm like, yeah, sure. Where's the office? Where am I going? Help me out with this.
It's kind of like how Brandon got his job at that restaurant.
Mm-hmm. The restaurant that we know is now called This Town.
The woman who interviews Brandon is just this sassy restaurateur. And I liked her at first. I was like, ooh, I kind of like her because she was very sassy, very to the point, very blunt. And she had like a cool Blossom hat going too.
She did. I feel like hats were very in 1990. Oh, and Tiffany had that dope cheetah print hat too. In the very beginning, another reference to dope.
A lot of hats in this episode.
Yeah, I didn't really like the boss lady, even at the beginning. She reminded me too much of Mariah Carey's manager Stella on Mariah's World, and I hate Stella.
Shall we just refer to her as Stella for the rest of the episode?
I think so. It'll be a lot easier. That's how I have her in my notes throughout.
I don't want to keep saying sassy boss lady because that's just too many syllables.
Yeah, Stella works.
So she hires Brandon, and Brandon thinks that he's going to be a waiter, but he's really just like a what do they call it? A crummer?
A crummer, yes.
Which is someone who just puts salt in the salt shakers and cumin in the little jars and stuff.
Actually sounds like it would be a very job.
It did not look like a horrible job, but I don't know. Maybe it's just working with that lady.
Working with Stella would make me want to shoot myself.
And the wait staff at this town, they're all totally actor wannabes because one of the waitresses...
Yeah.
is like, oh my God, the producer of Melrose Place is here. I need to go meet up with him. And
he's at table 7. Someone can take 5.
Someone grab table 5. And she's like putting more makeup on, grabbing her headshots, running over. Like, how does this look? Even though she's wearing this ugly restaurant attire. Like she go up to the table and she's like, oh, here's my headshot. Here's a script that my brother wrote. Can you find him a job too?
Wait, you wanted a menu? I can do the menu off of memory because that's how good of an actress I am.
Want me to do it as Greta Garbo? Or do you want me to be a Marilyn Monroe? Like, how do you want me to read you the specials tonight?
Oh, you want an Irish brogue? Okay.
I also do song and dances, too.
Just wait till I bring your food out.
I wonder what that waitress is doing now. Did she ever make it big in Hollywood, or is she still slumming in the streets of Beverly Hills?
Probably still slumming it. She didn't look talented to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't have the look. No X factor for her.
All right. Well, now that we're in the restaurant, I think this would be a great time to bust into our favorite segment, Drinking with Dylan, or could we call it Getting Tanked with Tiffany this week?
That'll definitely work, yes. Let's get tanked with Tiffany.
So what are you drinking this week, Steven?
And my wine today is in reference to Tiffany, kind of. I am drinking a wine called Double Dog Dare, and I feel like that's the first time Tiffany ever stole something. Someone double dog dared her to do it. And it tastes like piss.
All right, I am drinking this week Flip Flop Pinot Grigio, $5 at the local grocery store. And I chose that this week because it reminded me of $5 flip-flops from Old Navy, and that's probably the only thing Brenda could afford to buy. So flip-flop wine.
Yeah, mine was $3, and I think that's why it tastes like piss.
Is it old? Like, have you had it for a while?
No, I just opened it today, but I think I bought it right before Christmas. So it's only a couple of weeks old.
All right. I didn't know, like, if you had it opened for a while and it's been like, sitting around and someone might have actually peed in it.
Oh, no. No, if I open a bottle, I have to finish it that day.
Yeah, me too. Or very early the next morning. I'll finish it.
Right? Damn it, dog.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, if I open something, I drink it that same day.
Shout out to alcoholism.
Before work.
All right.
Thank you, Tiffany, for getting tanked with us.
Yes, thank you, Tiffany. And speaking of Tiffany, I just got a text message from our good friend, Tiffany Amber Thiessen. We are still doing this gag. She was supposed to join us tonight, but she is having dinner with Mark Paul Gosselaar and Mario Lopez.
Oh, bitch.
Do you think they are talking shit about Screech right now?
Absolutely. I think Screech and Lisa. I guess she went kind of crazy too.
Yeah.
They're probably like, should we start inviting Jesse to these?
But
No.
We're probably just going to have to become friends with another cast member of the show because we keep getting stiffed by Tiff, so to say.
I get a stiff from Tiff. Sorry. I don't know why I do that. I'm trying to think who would be the most desperate for work at this point. We don't pay well.
I think we could get Claire Arnold. Kathleen Robinson would probably be willing to.
I think she might even be like too high caliber for us. I'm thinking like Vincent Young.
Really?
Yeah. I think we're going to get Noah, maybe Aiden. Not Aiden. What was his name? Matt.
Daniel Cosgrove, is that his name?
Yeah, and we might be able to afford them.
Yeah, so Tiffany Amber Thiessen, you've been replaced. So we are going to get like one of your like season 8 or 9, whatever year it was, hacks.
We'll get Vanessa Marshall.
Yeah. The woman who played Janet. We'll get her.
Oh, Lindsay Price. She's actually doing better than anyone else on the cast, I think.
Like the original
she
cast?
at least has TV shows. Yeah.
All right. So where are we in the episode?
They're at the store. Kelly and Tiffany are shopping, and Tiffany is reading an article about always being attracted to losers. And then we see Steve Sanders.
Yes, she's also reading another article about inverted nipple trouble too.
Yeah, I'm afraid I do not understand what that inverted nipple stuff is, but it scares me.
Like, is it just your nipple is just going into your body?
Ooh, that'd be weird.
Like in any belly button, but in any nipple?
Huh.
I don't know. If you know what an inverted nipple is, tweet us at Wine-021-Bros and let us know. School us. Be our Miss Rye and teach us about inverted nipples.
And bring pictures for demonstration.
Do not be our Gil Myers, though. Be informative. Don't be creepy. I do like that Kelly and Brenda are flipping through a rack, and Kelly says, "Ooh, this is 100% silk. This is death. Brenda, you have to have it."
Was that a compliment?
I don't know.
Yeah, that line confused me. I'm like, wait, are we nice to Brenda this week, or are we going to leave her alone on the beach again?
Who knows? And then we have another weird moment where Kelly, Tiffany, and Brenda, they're all in the dressing room, and Brenda kind of makes a comparison to Les Miserables again. And then Kelly is obviously doesn't even know what they're reading in school. She's like, sorry, I relate to Pretty Woman more than I relate to whatever the hell you were just talking about.
Which is sad, because if Brandon thinks that Brenda is shallow, what does he think about Kelly Taylor at this point?
Future couple.
Match made in heaven right here.
And then I love the Tiff shoving clothes into her bag scene.
Now, dressing room's camera, or monitored, I guess is the word.
I'm guessing they probably didn't really have cameras. They just had the fashionable security guy just kind of like strolling around the place. And maybe this was like a sting. This was like a long sting. Like they knew that this girl came in all the time, Tiffany. They knew that her parents actually built the mall that the store's in. So maybe like they were kind of, maybe they were going to find a way to blackmail her. Who knows? We know you're stealing our clothes. Give us some fucking money kind of thing. I mean, that's a possibility, right? Because when they get caught, Tiffany's like, you know what? I'll just write you a check. Here you go.
Yeah. I'll just pay for everything. Just let us go home.
Yeah. I'll pay for like even things that I didn't even steal. Just here's like 5 G's.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So this could be some nefarious plot done by Nitro.
Not the Beverly Hills stalker, or I forget what we call Jason.
The Beverly Hills butcher, the serial killer.
Yeah, the butcher.
I mean, he does strike again this week because we never see Tiffany after this episode. It's just another revolving door of missing Beverly Hills students.
How do people not find them missing? I don't get it.
Brenda and Kelly are the 2 most important people in the school. It's no one else matters. All lives matter, Brenda. All lives matter. Mm-hmm. Not just your life and Kelly's life.
Brenda's obsession with Kelly needs to end, and I hope it does.
It does. Brenda eventually gets sick of her shit.
Yeah.
Just like we all eventually get sick of Kelly's shit.
She had to join a cult for me to get sick of her.
That's what it took. That was the final straw.
Yeah. And I love, though, when Brenda and Tiffany are leaving the store, and Kelly's like, oh, hold on, I'll be there. I just want to buy these 5 things. I do that all the time. Like, I go to video stores, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to buy these 8 movies. Because I count it all. Oh, hold on. I have 7 movies here. Let me put one back. I want an even 6.
And then Kelly had to like figure out which credit card to use. She's like, should I use my mom's Amex or dad's Discover? I don't know. I'll just put on this one. It'll get paid.
Start with the blue and just work through the rainbow. I just stole that from Fuller House.
We also get a weird side story where the Walshes' phones keep hanging up on them when they're having conversations with each other, like on the phone.
Which is kind of funny.
I don't know, like, what is happening?
The way Brenda explains it is that there just were not enough phone lines for Beverly Hills right now because of all of the new cell phones and car phones taking up every phone line.
Yeah, I had a weird thought about this. So, all right, so they obviously have a phone because Cindy can call Jim like 600 times a day. But after like 30 seconds, the phone just hangs up on them. And it just keeps happening. So Brenda comes with this like whacked out theory. So it's like, did they not think of to make new area codes? Like what?
Maybe.
I was trying to think that because I remember in the mid-90s, they added a new area code to where I lived because there was too many phone numbers, I guess. So it's like, let's just make a new area code.
Which is really funny to me because where I grew up, we didn't even need to give an area code or the first 3 digits of a phone number. Everyone knew like what the first 6 numbers of your telephone number were. You just had to give the last 4. You're like, oh yeah, I'm 8176. When I say I grew up in a small town, I mean it was a small town.
That is so weird.
You work at Pizza Hut and you're like, yeah, can I get your phone number? Sure, it's 5227. Okay.
That must have been very convenient though for remembering people's phone numbers.
It was. Like my friend Nathan, I knew his number was City. It just spelled City. Don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head. I'm just like, oh, let me call Nate.
Oh, I would totally try to figure out words to make out of the phone numbers. That would have been a fun game back in the day. Mm-hmm. Damn it. Shout out to Simple Life.
It was. We had a 1. In my number, I had a 1, and there are no numbers to a 1, so I was so mad. I'm like, damn it, I can't do a word with my home number.
Well, I guess you could have just made up a letter, kind of like a wild card, like the blank tile on Scrabble.
Oh, yeah.
Now, don't you want to go back in time and think of that?
That makes sense. No, not really.
If you ever had a time machine, you would go back to your hometown and give young you that secret of using the 1 as the Scrabble wild tile.
I would. That would be the first thing I would do.
Imagine that like changed the course of history and like you came back and the world was overrun by like dinosaurs or something.
I would love it. I would want to ride a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
All right, can we talk about Steve, Brandon, and Dylan, like the weird Steve, Brandon, Dylan scene? Because I didn't even know that Dylan and Steve knew each other, but yet they're hanging out in the hallways of West Beverly.
Yeah, it was very odd. It was very out of place, too.
Yeah, because the previous week we got this like hardcore James Dean wannabe Dylan, and like now this week he's just like a regular Beverly Hills 90s kid.
This week he's a TLC reject wearing his 1 strap overall.
Yeah, like was it laundry day, Dylan? Like why... Why are you dressed like this?
It was jarring, to say the least.
Do you think that Fox saw the previous episode, The Green Room, and was like, kids are not going to understand this whole James Dean thing. We need to make Dylan more modern?
Maybe.
And then they ran to Nitro and just stole some clothes for him to wear.
Tiffany, go get some overalls for this guy. Size doesn't matter. We'll just put 1 strap on there. We'll keep it up.
Yeah. Enough to support his pants. But yeah, I still can't figure out how Steve and Dylan know each other at this point because we only had Brandon and Dylan interaction in the previous episode. And according to legend, everyone thinks that Dylan is a loser or weird or there's something off about him.
A bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad boy.
He's someone to stay away from, so I can't see Steve hanging out with him.
Yeah, this episode, a lot of things felt out of place to me. Most of them involve Steve.
Do you think that maybe it's out of order? Like maybe this was a few episodes later and they just kind of shoved it right here?
It could be. We'll have to look next week on a very boring Brandon episode and see if it kind of has the introduction of Steve and Dylan.
Who knows?
But no, what I thought was kind of funny, and it fits with the entire theme of the show, though, is you have Brandon with Steve and Dylan, then you have Kelly and Brenda together, and of course, David is there, because David never really got to hang out with the guys. He was always there with the girls.
Yeah, even in this episode, he's doing the video yearbook, and he's not, like, walking around the school with the guys. Instead, he's, stalking the girls, videotaping their legs. Tiffany's, like, undressing in the school.
Yeah, which was great, David's little feint, the last we see of him this week.
One thing that we do almost get in this episode, we almost get a Cindy Walsh snack scene.
Almost. I was looking forward to it, too. It was such a fucking letdown.
So Cindy is bonding with Anna, And I don't know, Cindy's just kind of like dropping loads all over Anna, unleashing all of her troubles. And the only thing that Anna knows how to say is, "Oh, see." But Brenda and Tiff walk in, and Cindy's like, "Ooh, Brenda brought a new girl over. This is someone that's not Kelly." And she's like, "Do you guys want a snack?" And Tiff is just like, "You will never see my mom asking us if we want a snack. You will never see my mom at all." She's so judgmental right in front of Cindy.
Yeah, shifty-eyed bitch.
Yeah, Cindy just kind of rolls her eyes and she's like, "Oh God, fucking Brenda is in these winners that she finds.
She needs a good friend.
She needs to meet a nice little girl like Andrea." But no, Brenda just keeps bringing home these horrible people that do horrible things to her.
Oh, we forgot to mention something. With Steve, Dylan, and Brandon, they're talking to, Brandon about his job. And Steve thinks that Brandon's going to try to sleep with the boss. And Brandon has the great line of, "Come on, I'm a waiter, not a lover."
Oh, yeah. And he's not even a waiter or a lover.
Right?
Brandon, you weren't either.
No, I wouldn't want him for either.
The only thing Brandon's good for is he's like a good whistleblower. That's what Brandon's good. He's a whistleblower.
He is. He's good for that and for judging his sister.
All right, so now back at Casa de la Walsh. Tiffany decides that she's going to stash all of her stolen goods in Brenda's closet, which I don't understand why she does that.
She didn't want it at home, probably.
Did she want Brenda to get caught?
I don't think so. I feel like Tiffany genuinely actually liked Brenda.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because I figure that Tiffany actually genuinely probably liked Brenda more than Kelly did.
And I feel like she just wanted to drop the clothes off somewhere before they went back to the store, so that she didn't have it like in a box in her car or something.
Well, maybe she had a lot of places to go to that day, and she just didn't want to lug it around. So she's like, I'm just going to dump it in Brenda's closet. Or maybe she secretly wanted her to have the stuff and just find it like a few days from now.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
She doesn't find it. Anna finds it. And this is after the big incident. So shall we get into the incident?
I think we should.
So Kelly heads off to Topanga Canyon to horseback ride with, I don't know, Donna maybe? Who knows?
At Twilight?
Somebody.
I think the other random friend that we never meet.
The other random girl whose name's not given.
She's just there for like exposition, yeah.
She's the one who like whispers into Brenda's ear like, "Kelly and Tiff used to be best friends, but now they aren't."
We'll call her Deborah Norville.
Girl.
There with the Inside Edition.
That was her name in the credits. It was Whisper into Brenda's Ear Girl. We hardly knew you. She probably like fell off the horse in Topanga Canyon and Kelly just kept on going.
Probably. I could see Kelly doing that. "It's so cold. I don't have time to stop."
She got to the end of the trail and she's like, "Wasn't there another girl here? Oh, well, who cares?" All right, so Tiffany and Brenda go back to the same store, and Brenda's like, "Weren't we just here yesterday?" And Tiff's like, "Yeah, that's like the fun of it, because you get to come back and just look at all the same stuff." So Brenda's like, "Okay, I guess that works."
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
They're flipping through the clothes rack, and Brenda's like, "Why do they charge so much for this?" And Tiffany's like, I don't know, money's nothing to me." And then she's like, "Can you run up to the counter and like ask her if they have this in a extra small or something?" So Brenda goes up.
A bigger size.
And yeah, as she's doing that, Tiff just starts shoving stuff into her like backpack. The sassy sales clerk is like, "Stop her!" And she grabs Brenda's arm. Then the fashionable security guy like pops out of nowhere. Like it's this like whole sting. And they lock Brenda and Tiffany like in the security office. And I love the line that Tiffany said, that is, "They can't leave us here for more than 10 minutes. It's illegal if they do," which I don't understand that law. Was that a real thing? What?
I don't know. I feel like Tiffany would know her laws though before she would start just spouting shit off. But then she could be following the Brenda school of thought, which is things in Beverly Hills are different. So everything's going to be different here.
I like that course of thinking.
Yeah, she just had a Brenda moment.
While Brenda and Tiffany are ripping off Nitro, Jim finally goes home. Jim Walsh finally goes home. Cindy is all stressed out. She's been dealing with Anna the maid all day, dealing with Brenda, that girl Tiffany with the shifty eyes. I don't know. Like, you would think that she would be a lush at this point.
Right? I am just thinking about it.
Like, you would think that it'd be 2 p.m. She's got nothing going on. Why doesn't she just crack open a bottle of that piss wine you have?
Yes. Double dog dare.
And just start guzzling away. But no, she has a lot of self-control.
She does. Which is another point in her favor?
Yeah, I guess so. Her and Jim, they're sitting on the couch, and Jim's like, hey, the kids aren't here.
We're home alone. What should we do with this?
And Cindy's like, let's just talk about the kids. Those girls, they are 16 going on 30. That Tiffany with her shifty eyes.
Right?
And, oh my God, I can't adjust to anything. And Jim's like, Cindy. And then, like, the scene changes.
I was waiting for him to have some cheesy-ass, like, pickup line to use on his wife. But no, we didn't get that at all.
No, instead we just get, like, a little, like, kiss on the lips or something. But it totally was implied that they banged on the couch right after that.
Especially when Cindy opened the gift box thinking it was a gift for her and it was Jim's tracksuit.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Oh, yeah. So Cindy finds a box on the ground and it's like the TV gift wrapped where you just like open from the top. And she's like, ooh, I love this warm-up tracksuit.
Because God forbid wrapping paper be heard.
But it's a little too big for me, I think. And Jim's like, oh, that's for me. My secretary got it for me. And then Cindy's like, oh, so this means that you're going to walk around in this thing? And it was awesome. Can we just talk about how it was like a baby blue, totally 90s, neon colors, and they totally show them power walking.
I would have worn it. I still would if I had one.
Yeah, I'd be wearing it right now if I had it. I'd be doing every podcast in that warm-up tracksuit.
In the Jim Walsh tracksuit? I'll have to find one.
Maybe we should look for one and just kind of like put our logo on it.
eBay, here I come.
We'll sell them on the website.
Yours to own. The only thing missing is Jim Walsh back hair.
Yes, which will be coming up in a future episode.
I'm so excited for that.
And I can't wait. Yes. So I'm trying to think of the order of things. So when do they actually get the call that Brenda stole? Because I felt like Brandon was there when it was happening, but then there was definitely the sex scene, almost sex scene.
Brandon came in right after the tracksuit was opened.
Okay.
And he was complaining about how busy his job was, and then was talking about Jim's past glory of working 2 jobs and, going to school and would walk and, the typical old person story that they always tell their complaining child. And while mocking Jim is when they get the phone call.
The phone rings and they're all looking at each other like, who would call at this time of night? I'm guessing it was probably late. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say probably like after 10:30 or 11.
They don't know anybody in Beverly Hills. And Brandon's like, it must be Brenda, right? She's out. Maybe she needs a ride. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Kelly ditched her. Who knows?
Now, as Brandon put it, it's probably Brenda. She and her, new friend's ex-best friend probably met these 2 awesome dudes at the movie. He's totally just making fun of her this entire episode, and the parents just laugh about it.
So Jim decides to answer the phone, and you get that one-sided conversation, which always happens when teenage kids do something bad. You just hear Jim go, yes, this is Jim. What? That's impossible. Mm-hmm. And then he just hangs up the phone, and he's like, Brenda shoplifted. We have to go get her. And
I love that he tried to blame Cindy, too, for letting Brenda go out with shifty-eyed Tiffany.
Oh, yeah. And then Cindy loses her shit. She's like, don't blame this on me. This is not my fault. She's like, you're the one who's never fucking here.
Yeah. She's like, it's because of Beverly Hills. It's this damn city's fault.
You're the one who fucking uprooted us. You uprooted us, moved us halfway across the country. You're never home. I gotta fucking deal with all this shit all day. And these shifty-eyed bitches that keep coming over.
You stole Cindy's friends away from her, and she used to go out and actually had a life, but not anymore, and it's all your fucking fault, Jim.
She's got no one to walk these streets in her beat-up sweatpants with. So I guess Tiffany kind of sweet-talks her way out of the store prosecuting them. Well, she doesn't sweet-talk. She basically just pays the store off. And
yeah, she's like, here, I'll just pay everything.
Yeah, so now we get that scene where Jim, Cindy, and Brenda, they're walking down an alley late at night. It looked very unsafe. It looked like an unsafe part of town, just from the alley look they were walking in. Brenda was just like, can we just drop this? Like, I just don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, forget it. Like, I know I did a shitty thing, but let's stop. And Jim's like, yeah, all right, that's fine. But Cindy can't let it go. She's got to stick up her ass, and she actually, I think she has every right to kind of be like that, though. Jim was going pretty easy.
She does, and Brenda never really explained the situation either. She just basically said, if you guys don't trust me, then that's on you, but I've done nothing to make you not trust me. It's like, just fucking tell the truth. Just say you didn't know that Tiffany was stealing.
Maybe Brenda didn't want to rat out her friend. I don't know. So who knows? But the next best part, though, is now we have Brenda on the phone with Kelly, who must have been back from her horse riding trip, and she's like, Kelly, why didn't you tell me she's such a klepto? And we get that cool Kelly Taylor on the cordless phone rollover shot where she's like on her bed and she rolls from her stomach to her back, and I think that's what they use in the opening credits.
They use that, and they use her putting her makeup on with David filming her earlier in the episode.
Ooh, you're right. Okay. So we got some...
so we got 2 iconic Kelly moments.
Actually, it seemed like a lot of the videos in the opening credits were from this episode, because we also have Jim in his warm-up tracksuit. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the theme song.
Yeah, and I like that Kelly is now friends with Tiffany, but she calls her a klepto and a nympho. She's all the O's.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a friend. Brenda goes through kind of a world of shit because Anna, after Brenda finally screams at her mother that she needs to trust her more, that she didn't do anything wrong, and Cindy wants a reason to trust Brenda, Anna comes into the room and she has all of the stolen clothes that Tiffany left at the house. And kind of things just don't go over well. Brenda says, you know what, this isn't me, you need to trust me. And Cindy just wants a reason to trust her. So Brenda goes to Tiffany's house, and this is where she confronts her with the gay men sitting on the little beach chairs behind Tiffany, just laying on the diving board.
Yeah, and so Tiffany, I just want to add, Tiffany's sunbathing on the diving board, but they're all in the shade. I just want to throw that out there.
Which is how I would have sunbathed too, because I didn't know what it meant. I grew up in a town where the sun was out maybe 2 days out of a month, and that was like 2 months out of the year. Yes, and Tiffany kind of shows a little bit of jealousy regarding Brenda and Cindy. She's upset that they're the work it out type, and Tiffany's mom just wants to send her off to boarding school. She's, doesn't have the Cindy Walsh that basically no one else on the show has, because Cindy is one of a kind.
Yes. She's like the Mother Teresa of Beverly Hills.
But a little more fun than Mother Teresa. I'd rather go to a party with Cindy any day.
Not as quite holy.
She would at least get a banana daiquiri.
Yeah, and she'd bring a good snack tray too.
So Brenda tells Tiffany, we're no longer friends, and she goes home. And she's still kind of moping. She's upstairs in her room, just kind of ignoring the world. And then Tiffany comes by and she tries to take the stolen contraband items back from the Walsh house. And Cindy kind of lectures her. She's like, you need to return all this to the store. There's no reason for you to be stealing anything. You're better than this. Become a better person than you're setting yourself out to be. And Tiffany basically says it's because her parents don't have time for her that she steals things just so she can get a little bit of a rush out of life that way. So Tiffany leaves, and we never see her again.
Well, Brenda overhears everything from like the top step. So as soon as Tiffany walks up, Brenda's like, thank you, Tiff. Even though she said it to nobody. We kind of get a weird moment with Brandon and Brenda. That's how like every episode seems to wrap up. So in the last week's episode, Brandon wrote an essay for the newspaper and Brenda read it aloud. This week, Brandon reads Brenda's paper.
Oh, it's just like Brandon having his inner monologue.
I think we should go into our next segment, Bros and Cons. This is the segment where we discuss our favorite things about the episode, bros, or the things we did not like so much, the cons. So I think you should start with your first bro this week.
All right. My first bro is Cindy fucking Walsh. She was not taking shit from anybody this week. She was refusing to be a doormat. She would fight with Jim if she had to. She would yell at Brandon. She would yell at Brenda. She fucking tried to kick Anna out of her house. Basically told Tiffany, like, get a life, get the fuck out of here. I don't have time for you. I love Cindy in this episode.
Hurricane Cindy has arrived in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
She is like a 10.0 earthquake, just destroying and demolishing anything that tried to stop her. So girl power, Cindy. My first bro is Dylan's overalls with the one strap undone.
It was in style at the time.
Just because. Why not?
My next one goes to an overall lack of incestuous Walsh twin scenes in this episode. Like, there was no creepy chemistry, and I was very happy.
Yeah, there wasn't very many Brandon and Brenda scenes of them together, so we kind of got their own little side adventure this week. All right, my second bro is Tiffany lounging on the diving board at the pool. I don't know, I just thought that was really cool, like that she just chose to lie on the diving board despite all those comfy lawn chairs all around her.
She didn't know the dudes that were hanging out there. Probably afraid.
She probably was. And she's like, you know what? I need a quick escape, so I'll just jump into the pool if they try anything on me.
My next bro is the scene of Jim and Cindy power walking, because I just like the look on Cindy's face. She looks so happy.
Ooh, that was my final bro too. I think anytime we have the same bro, we have to we'll have to do like a Beverly Hills shot.
All right. I do have one more.
So on the next time we record, we'll have like a separate shot class for similar bros and cons.
I have one more bro, which is the...
Ooh. Oh, you have a fourth one.
I had four this week. Only 2 cons, but 4 bros. The white hat store employee. I liked her.
Oh, yeah, the fashionable security guard.
Linda Perry.
I wished she would have made other appearances on the show.
She was just badass. She was cool.
I wish she was someone that would turn up every time they would go somewhere. She would always just be there. And it's like, don't you work at Nitro? She'd be like, no, I left that place.
I feel like she should have been the security guard when Donna and Kelly had their own boutique.
You know what? They probably went back and found her. Kelly's like, you know what? I remember when I was a junior in high school and I shopped at that shitty place Nitro. You know what? They probably used the same location as Nitro. That's where Kelly's boutique was.
Probably.
And Linda Perry was still there. She was just chilling in there, remembering the old days. And Kelly's like, you know what? You're hired.
We need you.
Yeah, we need you more than ever, Linda Perry. All right, shall we get into our cons?
Yes. Do you want to start?
Yes. My first con is not enough Andrea this week.
Which is kind of weird. I never thought that would be a con on this show.
I know. And I would have liked an Andrea and Brandon moment where Brandon's kind of like spilling the tea on this town, that restaurant, like immigration policy. Mm-hmm. And Andrea's like, you know what? That would be a fucking great article, Brandon. You should write it. But no, we don't have that. And Andrea wasn't there as a driving force to drive Brandon into actually finalizing himself with the article. So who knows? This town is probably still there, and she is still probably paying those people far, far less than minimum wage because Brandon didn't write the article.
Which is basically my first con. Yeah, he's my first con. Is just his entire storyline. The whole thing just felt like filler. There was no thriller involved to it. It was just there.
All filler, no killer.
Some 41, right?
I believe it was all killer, no filler.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I just flipped it down and reversed it.
Yeah.
My second con this week was Nat leaning over the counter while Brandon was eating. Sorry, not cool, Nat. I like you, I think, but maybe these first impressions of you weren't so hot.
I never got over my first impression of Nat.
I don't know.
For me, my final con of the week is just the lack of Donna. There were moments throughout, too, that I had in my notes. Why isn't Donna in this scene? And then at the very end, that was the first thing I thought of. I was like, there was no Donna. I don't like that. I need her in my life every week.
It's a while before Donna really starts getting flushed out. If you are a fan of Donna, you might want to just skip ahead to like the 12th episode of this podcast, maybe. Mm. Which we haven't recorded yet. But I'm talking to those people who are going back in time and listening to these from the beginning. You have that option.
Right?
Yes.
Which is fun to do. Just binge listen to podcasts.
Download them all right now and just spend the next 12 hours listening to this. But if you're listening to this as it's brand new, you don't have that luxury. You're just going to have to wait.
You'll like us. I swear.
All right. So what is coming up next week? Do we know what episode it is?
So what's coming up next week is The First Time, which is the episode where Brandon's girlfriend from Minnesota visits Beverly Hills and starts to develop feelings for Dylan, leading to a little tiff between Brandon and Dylan.
Ooh. All right, so next week we are going to do The First Time, which is when Brandon loses the V card. Join us then. I guess all good things must come to an end, so we are going to have to pack up all our pool supplies and throw it back into the brew wagon and take off. We're going to head to the hills, stock up on wine, so we can come back down.
But we'll be back soon.
Yes.
Hopefully something good this week. Suggestions are always required for me. I'm not much of a wine person.
Well, maybe we'll do a non-wine episode and we'll do something crazy because Brandon is...
Ooh! There's something that I purchased the other day at the store, and it was the Crystal Clear Pepsi, which is back in our lives. And there's no better staple of 1990s than Crystal Clear Pepsi and 90210. I say it's time for Crystal Clear Pepsi and rum.
Ooh, that works. Or we could make sex on the beaches because Brandon will be having sex. Not on a beach, but on a bed. But we can pretend it's a beach.
You know, I don't even know how to make those.
Or we could just rename it to Sex on the Beds.
We'll have a cake by the ocean.
All right, so join us next week on Wine-021-Bros. And don't forget to follow us at Wine-021-Bros on Twitter and our amazing website, Brenda666.com. Until next time, peace out, bro.
Peace out, bro.